So in the last session, we discussed about the features of Linux. Means why Linux, that we discussed in the last session, right? So what are the features we have in Linux? Open source code we get along with the operating system, and multiple users can log in and they can perform multiple tasks and can be installed in any hardware environment. It doesn't require any specific hardware environment. Okay, and it works with least hardware environment also. Then same operating system can be used in normal desktop PC to supercomputer. Operating system is same. Okay, we don't have any separate operating system for clients and for servers. And no downtime 24/7 because no need to restart the computer. Without restarting the computer, using commands only, we can update everything. And security, Linux is secure because inbuilt IP tables are there, means firewalls. Then it works with command line interface. So those who know the commands, they only can access the computers, Linux machines. And for every user, password authentication is compulsory. It doesn't support exe files. And for every configuration file, there is no setup files. We have only configuration files, no next finish here. And we can encrypt a file by assigning passwords. Okay, so these are the few reasons why Linux is secure. And also performance wise, comparing to Windows, Linux is fast because Linux works with command line interface. So no graphics are required for processor to process. So it works fast. And also there is a concept called swap memory, virtual memory, which is used to increase the performance of physical memory. So that is also one reason why Linux is fast, means comparing to Windows. So these are the features of Linux. Okay, so for this notes also I will share. Once you get the paid link, they will also send the Telegram group link. So at the time, I will share the notes also. But meanwhile, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Also, after you getting the notes or videos, if you're getting any confusion or any doubts, you can ask me. I will explain again. Next is file system hierarchy of Linux. And before that, hardware requirement. If you want to install Linux operating system, so this is the hardware requirement, minimum hardware requirement. CLI means command line interface. GUI means graphical user interface. Okay. So this is the requirement of RAM and hard disk, minimum requirement. And these are the recommended partitions. About this recommended partitions, I will explain later. Before explaining recommended partitions, first of all, I'll explain about this directories. File system hierarchy standard. These are the default directories in Linux. Directory means folder. Remember, in Windows we call folder, here we call directory. See, in Windows, what is the use of folders? Folders are used for storing content. It may be files or subdirectories, right? Files are folders, subfolders. Similarly, in Linux, directories are used for storing content. It may be files or subdirectories. Folder is nothing but directories. Okay. So these are the default directories we have in Linux. So the first one is forward slash. Forward slash is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. I'm repeating, forward slash is parent directory or top level directory in Linux. It contains subdirectories. So under this forward slash, these all subdirectories are there. And this forward slash is similar to C in Windows. In Windows, we have C drive, right? C is primary partition and it is compulsory partition. There only operating system is gonna store. Similarly, in Linux, / is a primary partition. It is similar to C in Windows. Okay. I'm repeating again, /. It is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. And it is similar to C in Windows. And what it contains means it contains subdirectories. What are they means these are the subdirectories we have under /. And next one is root. Root is the home directory for super user. I'm repeating. Root is a home directory for super user. Super user means administrator. As an administrator, you logged in into your computer and you're creating any files or directories. By default, data is going to store under root. Root is the home directory for super user. Okay, so when you logged in as an super user means administrator. Remember, I don't use the word administrator. I will use the word super user. Super user is nothing but administrator. In Windows, we call administrator. Here we call super user. That's it. Only name different. What is super user means they have full privileges. They can install, uninstall, create, delete. They can do everything. They have full privileges, means permissions. So in Windows also, if you have only C drive means whatever data we are creating in desktop, the data is going to store in C drive only. Right? If you have partitions, we can store the data in other drives like D, E, F. You can select other drives and we can store the data. But by default, data stores in C drive. Similarly, in Linux also, once you logged in as a super user and you're creating any files or directories, the data is going to store under root. Is these two directories are clear? I'm repeating again. Then let me know whether you're clear or not. First one is /. It is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. / contains subdirectories and it is similar to C drive in Windows. And next is root. Root is the home directory for super user. Super user means administrator. As a super user, you logged in into computer and you are creating any files or directories. By default, the data is going to store under root. Is these 2 points are clear? Can someone respond? You can message me so that I'll go with
/ directory. What is the use?
/.
Like in root, we are using for the super user, right? Yes.
Yes. / is a parent directory. Under / only, these all subdirectories
yes,
are
but
there.
what is the exact use?
What is the use of C drive? It is a primary partition, right? C is a primary partition. Operating system, bootable files, everything is under
go to the read directory or any other means.
Sorry?
If you run the command cd space /, it will go to root directory, right?
It will go to / directory. Under / these all subdirectories are there.
Okay.
/ simple. / is a parent directory.
Okay.
It is similar to C drive in Windows. In Windows, we have C drive. Here we have /.
Okay.
The directories, this root, boot, home, has been, bin, these all are under / only.
Okay.
Where these all directories are available means under /.
Okay, means there is no any special privilege for this forward directory, right? Under this forward directory, we have all these 13 folders by default.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Clear, right?
Yes.
Hi, Madhuri.
Yeah, Vishnu.
Rao. This is Rao.
Yes.
I have a small doubt. You are telling like C directory in Windows. So
Yes.
in Windows, we can able to partition the C drive in number of drives like C, D, E, F like that.
Yes.
So here also we can able to partition the forward slash, or what is the difference?
Yeah. Partitions here also we can create.
How we can call it?
Uh,
How we can call it? Like there we can able to name it as a C, D, E, F. Like,
device.
no? So like
No.
this here also.
Windows we call like C, D, E, F, like here we call SDA1, SDA2, SDA3 like that.
Okay, okay.
I'll
While
show. I will show that also while installing. I will show.
okay, thank you so much.
Then I'll show that also. And next one is home. Home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, we logged in into computer and we are creating any files or directories. By default, the data is going to store under home. Here also, if you want to store the data in other partitions, we can store manually. But by default, where the data is going to store means under home. Home is the home directory for normal user. Root is the home directory for super user. Home is the home directory for normal user. Next is boot. Boot contains bootable files. Operating system bootable files are stored under boot. Also, kernel. Up to RHEL6 version, kernel also stored under boot. What is this kernel means? Kernel is an interface between shell and hardware. It is an interface between shell and hardware. So about this kernel function, when we discuss about shell scripting introduction, at the time I'll explain clearly about the kernel. Kernel is an interface between shell and hardware. Before transferring the data to hardware environment, brief information I'm giving. Kernel checks the data, whether the data is supported by hardware environment or not, then only transfers the data to hardware environment. This clear explanation I will give in further sessions. That kernel is stored under boot. Next one is sbin. Sbin contains super user commands, the commands which can be executed by super user. That commands are stored under sbin. Bin contains normal user commands, the commands which can be executed by normal user. That commands are stored under bin. See, when you log in as a normal user and you are executing any command, means first it will check in bin directory, whether the command is available or not. If the command is available, it will give you output. Otherwise, it will not give you output. Okay, I'm repeating. / is a parent directory and it is similar to C drive in Windows. It contains subdirectories. So the first subdirectory is root. Root is the home directory for super user. Super user means administrator. Okay. And home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, you logged in into computer and you are creating any files or directories. The data is going to store under home. And next one is boot. Boot contains bootable files. Operating system bootable files are stored under boot. Sbin contains super user commands. The commands which can be executed by super user. That commands are stored under sbin. Bin contains normal user commands. Commands which can be executed by normal user. That commands are stored under bin. Next one is USR. USR contains default applications. Applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USRC. In Windows, after installing the operating system, you can see Windows Media Player by default, right? Excuse me. We don't install Windows Media Player. We can see it by default. Same like that in Linux also. After installing the Linux operating system, you can see some applications by default. So that applications are stored under USR. Simple default applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USR. I'm repeating. Home is the home directory for super user. Boot contains bootable files. Operating system bootable files are stored under boot. Sbin contains super user commands. The commands which can be executed by super user means administrator. That commands are stored under sbin. Bin contains normal user commands. Commands which can be executed by normal user. That commands are stored under bin. USR contains default applications. Applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USR. Is this directories are clear?
Yes.
Done. Next one is var. Var contains variable files. Means log file. Simple log file. System log files are stored under var. See, it is like task manager. So in Windows, there is a task manager. If you open the task manager, you can see the process, whatever the process is running, and CPU, how much CPU is utilized, how much RAM is utilized, what are the applications are open, which users are logged in. You can see that information, right? Same like that, here we have var. Var contains log files. So how many users are logged in, how much CPU they are using, how much memory they are using, and how many users are logged in, at what time they logged in, all the information it contains. System log files are stored under var. And next one is dev. Dev contains devices information. Devices means partitions. In Windows, we call partition. Here we call device. Okay. Dev contains devices information. Means all the partitions information is maintained by dev. etc contains configuration file. System configuration files are stored under etc. As we discuss, Linux works with configuration files, right? So where the configuration files are stored means under etc. etc contains configuration files. And next one is OPT. OPT contains optional applications, applications which we install manually. So they are optional only, third-party applications. They are not compulsory. As per our requirement, if you want, we'll install some softwares, right? So that softwares are stored under OPT. I'm repeating. Sbin contains super user commands. Bin contains normal user commands. USR contains default applications, means applications which comes along with operating system. Var contains variable files, means log files. Dev contains devices information. Device means partitions. In Windows, we call partition. Here we call device. etc contains configuration files. System configuration files are stored under etc. And next one is OPT. OPT contains optional applications. Applications which we install manually. That applications are stored under OPT. Is this directories are clear?
Yes.
Done. And about this directories also, I will share the notes in Telegram group. I told you already, right? And next one is media. Media contains external devices informations, means removable devices information, like external hard disk, external DVD writer, USB devices, pen drives, everything. External devices information is maintained by media up to version 6. RHL version 6. And next one is MNT. MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. Which partition is connected with which directory? That information is maintained by MNT. See, in Windows, once a partition is created, if you format the partition means you can access the partition directly. If you double click on your D drive, You can enter into the D drive. You can create files and folders. You can open files and folders. You can delete files and folders. You can see also directly. But in Linux, it is not like that. We cannot access our partitions directly. So how we access means after creating partitions, we also create a directory and we will give the link between partition and directory. That is called mounting. Once a partition is mounted with a directory, linked with a directory, so we access partition through the directory. To create, to delete, and to check content, we use directory help. What is this mounting? How to mount? And what is the purpose of mounting everything theoretically and practically in Linux administration course only you will get. Okay, so MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. Which partition is linked with which directory? That information only it contains. Okay, so practically about this MNT directories, what is this mounting everything? In Linux administration course you will get, as we are in shell scripting. We are not going to discuss in depth about Linux operating system. Okay, and next one is run. Run contains external devices information and kernel information from RHEL 7 version. Version 7 onwards, run contains removable devices information and kernel information. Up to RHEL 6 version, boot contains kernel and media contains removable devices information. From RHEL 7 onwards, run contains kernel and removable devices information. Mohanty, once you paid, you will get the Telegram link.
Okay, ma'am.
Telegram link so that you can add into the link.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam, run external device.
If someone already paid means you can ask them for the Telegram link. Yeah, you're saying something?
Madam, run external devices and kernel information kannaru. Media only external devices maintenance can, madam.
Media external devices information it contains up to version 6.
Okay.
From version 7 onwards, run directory. Run contains external devices information, also kernel information from version 7.
Okay.
So right now in RHEL 7, we are not using media full directory, or what means?
No, instead of media, we are using run there.
Run, correct. But now this directory is available or not in RHEL 7 and
all the
upper
directories
version?
are available.
Okay.
Every directory is available. Function is same. All the directories function also same. Whatever version is that, the function is same. All the directories.
Okay.
These are the default directories.
Okay.
See,
now
if you
in
open-
upper version, kernel is available in run directory, correct?
Well, exactly. See, when you open C drive in Windows, there are some default folders like documents, downloads, library.
Yes.
Any version is that. It may be XP, it may be Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. You will get default folders, right?
Yes.
Same like that in Linux also. Whatever version is that, these are the default directories you will get.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So these are the default directories we have. If you are in administrator level means you should remember all these directories information, because in Linux administration, every directory is used. We use every directories. As per the shell scripting, you are learning up to basic Linux and shell scripting means if you just have idea, that is enough.
Madam,
So this all yeah.
అలా బ్యాక్ ఏదైనా ఫైల్స్ డిలీట్ చేసి బ్యాకప్ కోసం స్టోరేజ్ అయ్యి ఉంటుంది కదా మేడం, అవి ఇందులో ఉంటాయి మేడం. అందులో దానికి సపరేట్ గా ఇలా ఫోల్డర్ అనేది క్రియేట్ అయ్యి ఉండదా మేడం, ఒక డైరెక్టరీ?
ఇక్కడ ఇలా డేటా ఇందులో స్టోర్ అవ్వండి, అంటే డిలీటెడ్ డేటా ఇక్కడ స్టోర్ అవ్వ. అండ్ లినిక్స్ లో డేంజరస్ కమాండ్ వచ్చి RM కమాండ్. రిమూవ్ RF అని యూస్ చేశారనుకో పర్మనెంట్ గా డిలీట్ అయిపోతుంది. ఎక్కడ స్టోర్ అవ్వదు. మళ్ళీ మనం టూల్స్ యూస్ చేసుకోవాలి, థర్డ్ పార్టీ టూల్స్ యూస్ చేసుకుని డేటా రిట్రీవ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు.
ఓకే.
RM-RF అన్నామంటే అది మనకి వెళ్ళి రీసైకిల్ బిన్ లో ఎక్కడ స్టోర్ అవ్వదు, డైరెక్ట్ డిలీట్ అయిపోతుంది పర్మనెంట్ గా.
ఓకే మేడం. సిస్టమ్ లో మనకి రీసైకిల్ బిన్ ఉంటుంది కదా మేడం, అలాంటిది ఏమన్నా ఉంటుందా అనేసి మనకి డిలీట్ చేసినా కానీ ఆ ఫోల్డర్.
రీసైకిల్ బిన్ అంటే మీరు GUI మోడ్ యూస్ చేస్తే ఉంటదండి. గ్రాఫికల్ మోడ్ యూస్ చేసి రైట్ క్లిక్ అని ఫోల్డర్ క్రియేట్ చేశారంటే అప్పుడు ఉంటుంది. మనం OS ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన తర్వాత మీకు చూపిస్తాను అది.
ఓకే ఓకే.
నేను రేపు OS ఇన్స్టాలేషన్ చూపిస్తాను. నెక్స్ట్ మనం సిస్టమ్ లోకి లాగిన్ అవుతాం కదా, అప్పుడు మీకు ఫస్ట్ నేను ఇది చూపిస్తాను.
ఓకే మేడం.
So everyone, is this directories all clear?
Yes.
So // is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. It is similar to C in Windows. Overview just I'm giving. And it contains subdirectories. // what is the use of this means it contains subdirectories. And next one is root. Root is the home directory for super user, means administrator. As an administrator, we logged in into computer and we create any files or directories. The data is going to store under root. Home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, you logged in into computer and you create any files or directories. The data is going to store under home. Boot contains bootable files and kernel up to version 6. As bin contains super user commands, bin contains normal user commands. USR contains default applications which comes along with operating system. Var contains variable files. System log files are stored under var. Dev contains devices information. Device means partitions. etc contains system configuration files. OPT contains optional applications which comes along with operating system. Media contains external devices information up to version 6. MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. Which partition is linked with which directory? That information is maintained by MNT. Run contains external devices information from the version 7. Clear, right, everyone?
Yes.
You'll get the videos, recording videos you will get. And as I told, I will also share the notes at the time also when you are revising. If you have any doubts, you can message me. You can ask me in the class or you can message me on the Telegram group also. Okay?
Okay.
If someone is having any doubts, you can ask me. So these are the recommended partitions. Now you can understand this slide. Previously, when I opened, you may not get anything. What is this, where, USR, like that you will think. But now you are able to understand. These are the recommended partitions. They are not compulsory. They are recommended partitions. So in this, what are the compulsory partitions? Means // / is compulsory partition. Also swap. / and swap are the compulsory partitions while installing the operating system. Forward slash is compulsory because you know this is the parent direct. Operating system is gonna install in forward slash only. So it is compulsory partition. Forward slash is compulsory partition. And next one is swap. Swap, it is a virtual memory. And it is used to increase the performance of physical memory, means RAM. And the size of swap is twice the RAM, double of the RAM. Say if your RAM size is 1 GB, you can create swap memory, virtual memory with 2 GB space. You can take space from hard disk. 2 GB space you can take. You can create virtual memory. Okay. And the 2 GB space you can add to your RAM. Now your RAM is 1 GB. Virtual memory you are adding 2 GB. Means how much total size? 3 GB. So your RAM works with 3 GB space while sending the data and receiving the data. It works with 3 GB space. So automatically when it is working with 3 GB space, your performance will increase. Right. So swap, we have separate class also. At the time also I will explain about the swap memory. So compulsory partitions in Linux is forward slash and swap. Forward slash is compulsory because it is a parent directory.
Madhuri,
And swap is compulsory in Linux to increase the performance of system. These two are compulsory. Without creating these two partitions, you cannot go further while installing the operating system. And remaining partitions are not compulsory. They are only recommended partitions. Slash boot is recommended to avoid the wastage because slash root, it requires only 200 to 500 MB space. It contains only bootable files, right? So it requires 200 to 500 MB size. So while installing the operating system, if you give the size between 200 to 500 MB, it uses only that space. It will not occupy any space from forward slash. And next one is home. Home also under forward slash only, right? And this is also recommended partition, not compulsory partition. Slash home also recommended. So why this slash home is recommended means, say for example, now, if you give something around 100 GB space to home directory, when users logged in and creating any files or directories, it uses that 100 GB space. If you don't create home directory separately, means when users are logged in and users are creating any files or directories, the data is going to store. It takes the space from forward slash. Home takes the space from forward slash because this is under forward slash only, right? So when users are storing something, home take the space from forward slash and it uses the space. Now assume there is 10 GB space in your forward slash. When user logged in and user is creating any files or directories, assume there is 5 GB data user is storing. What home will do? It takes space from forward slash 5 GB and it will store in it. If there is no space, it cannot store the data. So that is the reason what we do means, if you have multiple users are logging into your computers. Okay, in that case, we'll give separate size to home, like 100 GB, 200 GB, 300 GB, we'll fix some size. So using that size, space, home stores the data, uses data. So it is recommended. It is not compulsory. Why it is not compulsory? Because if it is your personal computer, there is no other users to log in. So we don't require home directories. Directly, you can log in into your root account only. So in that case, no need home directory. Okay. So, I mean, no need specific size in home directory. Are you getting my point?
Yes. Yes.
Done. So home is recommended partition. So that if home directory is created, you can store your users data. You can fix some size like 500 GB space. If you fix to your home directory means using that space, users can store the data like that. So /boot is recommended to avoid wastage. Only bootable files it stores. We can fix some size. Home is recommended to store users' data. You can fix some size to users in order to store the data. Okay. And /usr and /var. These two directories are recommended in server PCs. In client PCs, not even required to create separately. In server PCs, they are recommended. Why in server PCs they are recommended to create separately? Because /var. In real time, administrators will create separately /var and they will give more size. /var contains variable files, log files, right? Every user information is going to store under var. So what administrators will do is they will give more space to var directory. They will give more size so that all the users information it can store. That is the reason they will give some size, more size they will give to /var for storing users information because it is used for troubleshooting purpose. How many users logged in, what commands they executed, at what time they logged in, every information it contains. If there is no space in /, var cannot store that information. If the space under / is completed, then var cannot store log files. That is the reason to store log files, system log files, we create var separately and will give some size. And USR. USR also recommended in server PCs only. USR contains default applications, right? So in server machines, they will run all the applications. Every application they will run 24/7 because we don't know which application your client required. So we run all the applications 24/7. So in order to run all the application without any interruption, we create /usr separately and will give the size, more size we will give. So it is recommended in server PC only. So these are the recommended partitions. In interviews, they're asking like in oral, they're asking what are the compulsory partitions? What are the compulsory partitions in Linux? They're asking that question in few interviews. I recently also I observed that. So recommended partitions means / and swap are the recommended partitions. That's it. Okay, sorry. / and swap are the compulsory partitions. What are the compulsory partitions we have in Linux? You will get the question like that. What are the compulsory partitions in Linux? Compulsory partition means / and swap are the compulsory partitions. Remaining or recommended. Recommended partitions in Linux is /boot, /home, /usr, /var. /boot is recommended to avoid wastage. /home is recommended to give space to users in order to store the data. We can fix some size. /usr is recommended in server PC to run all the applications without any interruption. /var is recommended in server PCs to store system log files, users information. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. But /boot is used for avoid the means wastage means what is exactly mean?
Like /boot actually 200 to 500 MB space, that is fixed size. It doesn't require more than that. Remaining partitions like home directory, var, USR, that is depends on the uses.
Okay. But you
/boot is
mentioned
not
right,
like that.
it's used for avoid the wastage something.
Yeah. No, just it requires 200 to 500 MB space, right? We will fix that size.
Mhm.
So we are not, if someone is trying to store any data there in /boot, it will not allow them to store the data.
Okay.
Without knowing it, someone entered into /boot. If
Okay.
they are trying to create any files,
Okay, means
directories there,
only bootable files are we can
available in boot.
Okay.
We use it only for bootable files.
Okay. Okay.
Unnecessary data, if we are without knowing, without knowledge, if the data is stored in /boot, while booting into the operating system, it will check that files also.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
That is the reason, to avoid that, we created /boot. We'll fix the size.
Okay. Only means system generated file should be available in.
Available in /boot.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Done. So this is about file system hierarchy and recommended partitions of Linux. Hope everyone are clear. If not clear, you can ask me, I'll explain. And this is about today's session. Okay. In tomorrow's session, we'll see how to install the operating system in Linux.
Okay.
How to install Linux operating system is tomorrow's session.
Okay.
Okay. So this is about today's session. Thank you so much for the session. We'll meet
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyone is having the doubts, you can ask me. I'm waiting. I'll be there online. You can ask me. Otherwise, you can leave the session.